There's a line attributed to Alexander Pope, the poet Alexander Pope, that says, "Hope springs eternal in the human breast." It is a truism that in the midst of adversity, hope does indeed spring up within the heart. The question is, what is hope? We take it for granted, but few have tried to discover exactly what hope is. What is this feeling that in the darkest moments of our life shines a light that is often a lifeline and a saviour at the 11th hour? First, let us look at the ancient Greek myth regarding Pandora. In this, Pandora is the first woman, and out of curiosity opens a casket that includes many evils that are then inflicted upon humanity. All that is left is hope. Pandora was crafted out of the earth by Hephaestus, the Greek god of fire, volcanoes and blacksmiths, in revenge for Prometheus stealing fire from the gods and endowing man with intelligence, which is a well-known teaching to students of theosophy. Regarding Prometheus, the Theosophical Glossary states that he is the Greek Logos, he who by bringing on earth divine fire, which is intelligence and consciousness, endowed men, and women of course, with reason and mind. Prometheus is the Hellenic type of our Kumaras, or egos, those who by incarnating in men made of them latent gods instead of animals. The gods, or Elohim, were averse to men becoming as one of us, and knowing good and evil. Hence we see these gods in every religious legend, punishing man for his desire to know. As the Greek myth has it, for stealing the fire he brought to men from heaven, Prometheus was chained by the order of Zeus to a crag of the Caucasian mountains. So, Zeus had woman created to inflict evil upon society. Now many may misinterpret this, and it could lead to the idea that woman is evil and a mischief. But it seems that woman refers to the feminine, what we may refer to as the material aspect of the universe, and to the Maya, or illusion cast upon us by the great diheresy of separateness that weans us from the rest. This is as much as we need to know regarding this legend for now. It is an interpretation that should not be regarded as definitive, and was only put forward in a simplified manner to set the scene for the real substance of this talk. So due to the emergence of the manifested universe, Maya and its attendant evils were released by the appearance of the feminine, or the material, as above so below, and this applies on all levels, right down to us as seeming separate individuals. Despite the turmoil created by our minds, immersed in the murky realms of constricted thought, the crystal clarity of the spiritual part of our nature shines through at times, and this may be referred to as hope. The one thing that was not released to run riot from the casket, the one thing that is stable despite the instability of life in general. Often when life seems just too much to bear, and we do not know which way to turn, the luminance of our higher self shines through and tells us that despite the current gloom, everything will be fine in the end, and indeed is fine at the moment for us as we really are. No matter how much the transient personality suffers for that tiny period in the immensity of our overall existence, the wider view may place things in perspective, and although the present pain will not disappear, we will view it in a different light, which may make it easier to bear. As H.P. Blavatsky tells us, if we were to look inwards instead of outwards, all the time life will become supportable, even during its worst phases. To us mortals, though, often the hope is just a fleeting shadow that does not solve our problems, and so we reason it away and sink back into despondency again. But it is possible to cultivate hope so that it becomes more than just a random feeling in the heart. The truth is that hope is the prompting of the higher self within us to abandon our absorption in material thoughts of sadness and despair, and to live in the light of our true nature, which is at one with all other true natures and the universe itself. We have just changed our illumined mind for counterfeit minds of anger, jealousy, greed, lust, depression, which are all just fleeting inventions of our misunderstanding and our blindness to the fact that the race of man is divine. As Parada often remark that Pythagoras tells us in his golden verses, Zen teaching will say that we do not need to become Buddha or enlightened, but that we just need to remain Buddha, as it is only one amidst a multitude of self-created illusions that cause us to believe that we have left that state in the first place. In reality, we have not left that exalted realm at all, but only in our tainted imagination. Indeed, the crest jewel of wisdom describes this whole manifested universe and each one of us that passes through it as a mere temporary obscuration of consciousness. Once the mist clear, we will see that nothing changes except our perceptions of the one eternal truth. As we grow in understanding and experience, the veils fall away, and we are always, and what we are becomes more and more into focus. We begin to see that we have been living a dream. And just as when we awaken from our nighttime reveries, everything that happened there, and which we consider to be real, is revealed as just phantom images. So is the day-to-day life that we pass through. As is said in The Voice of the Silence by H.P. Blavatsky, when to himself his form appears unreal, as do on waking all the forms he sees in dreams, when he has ceased to hear the many, he may discern the one, the inner sound which kills the outer. And then, not till then, shall he forsake the region of Asat, the false, to come unto the realm of Sat, the true. It is this realization that brings the fleeting feelings of hope into our day-to-day consciousness. As Alexander Pope said, the soul uneasy and confined from home rests and expatiates in a life to come. Expatiating in this sense means to wander freely. It is true that those who set off on the spiritual journey do feel uneasy and confined away from their true home and find rest and freedom once focused in the true self. In Theosophy, we talk of the reincarnating ego, which is the mind illumined by the spiritual dimensions of our being, which extracts from this mind all that is to be a permanent part of our existence, and increases our awareness of each one of us as immortal entities. Once we develop a longing to return to this true home, we do indeed feel confined by our earthly existence. We can only wander free if we are able to live spontaneously in the light of our spiritual nature, the life to come spoken of by Alexander Pope in its truest sense. So hope is the never-ending attempt of our higher self to give us some assistance in the midst of life's difficulties, to tell us inwardly that we are untouched by these seeming insurmountable problems, that like everything else in this manifested universe, they are bound to pass in time, and will soon be just memories in this life and totally forgotten in the long run. Also, there may be many positive lessons to be learned in suffering, and also a deeper understanding gained of the pain that others are going through, an insight that could never be gained if we did not experience it ourselves. So all in all, our sufferings are sent to help us to develop compassion, to become more in tune with our fellow human beings, and to assist in the development of our spirituality. Taking all of this into account, there is much to make us ever hopeful.